Hello, everybody out there in the internet. Welcome to Aimless Babble Z, episode 432. I'm Chris Evans, Tech Master, joined by
VG Maniac 05.
And Trioptical.
So yeah, that escalated quickly. We went to I don't think we're in quite the final form of the Darkest Timeline, but
The final form.
whew,
Okay.
man,
That's the scary part.
that escalated quickly, didn't it? It's like, oh yeah, PAX, Sony not going. It's like maybe it could blow over. They're like, who knows how long it's gonna go on. It's like, oh, and then it just gets worse, and it's like, oh, well, 18 months. Oh, thanks, Darkest Timeline. We hardly knew you. No GDC, no E3. I mean, knock on wood, no game delays or console delays yet. So I guess we'll see. But it could still happen. So, and it probably will. 'Cause, why wouldn't it? Why would it not happen? But yeah, got so much been playing. Got a middle segment and news mixed together because we got some news that's not really a lot of stuff, which is mostly delays. And then PS5 tech specs have been revealed in the presentation they had yesterday.
It's going to be an interesting middle segment, guys. Enjoy.
What you been playing? So I've basically only been playing Destiny 2. I've been just like, just grinding away mindlessly. And I'm at season pass level 80 already. So at this rate, I'll probably be done hopefully by the end of the month. That way, next month when the please don't get delayed games I'm looking to come out, you could just be like, yay, Resident Evil 3, yay, Final Fantasy Remake, yay, some happiness in the Darkest Timeline. Should make me happy because Trials of Osiris, couldn't even get 5 wins, man. That was a rough first week. So I didn't try to be a Trials mercenary. I think if I did, I could have maybe got to 5 wins. But I was like, you know what? I don't want to add any PvP people to my friends list, and I just don't want to deal with any PvP people. So I was just like, you know what? I'm not doing it. So it's like whatever. So struggle busting it to 5 wins, and then going from there. But this season storyline is kind of because it's just it's super Gundam, man. It's because it's all like they're dropping the Almighty on the last CD, which is there's a whole bunch of things that you could do to prevent that. It's like, well, why don't we just do a Rogue One and have a bunch of ships ram into it and boost it away or out of position to hit somewhere else on the Earth. Since there's only the one city where people live or humans in humanity. And everywhere else is deserted. I mean, is it big enough to be an asteroid that could kill us all? Maybe, but they didn't say. So it's leaves it up in the air. And then it's just that's totally just colony drop play from Gundam. So it's I mean, if you didn't know that was a thing, it's probably kind of cool. But it's dude, I've seen Gundam, and it's
they kind of all of the Gundams.
So, I haven't seen all of the Gundams, but
all of the Gundams.
I've seen me some Gundam, and I was like, this is just Gundam. So. Whatever, dude. So I mean, it's kind of cool that it's colony drop, but in Destiny, but it's not as cool because it's Destiny. So, and you've got a Warmind, so I'm guessing there's gonna be a giant laser that shoots it down at the end of the season or something, or some sort of Warmind weapon that we don't know about, or some Golden Age tech, or whatever plot element, excuse plot wherever we're going. Because we didn't even get a second bunker in the second week, so it's you get the first week there's a bunker on EDZ. You go to the bunker. You gotta do something to clear the bunker, and then you can upgrade the bunker, and it's just a whole thing about upgrading the bunker, and it's just whatever, dude. So it's I'm kind of over it already. I'm honestly at this point just playing to get to the season pass level because it's I'm super over it because I'm just got to the point of playing. I've played as much as I have, getting level 80 on season pass. I'm just yeah, I'm good. I'm just I don't need to play this game anymore this season. And
Yeah.
there's just still a little runway in the game right now every season for story, and it's just it never is fulfilling or just good. I mean, not that it's not good, it's just it never hits the mark. It's always below my expectations or below where I wish it would be, and compared to the DLCs of past expansions, it's it just doesn't do as much in my opinion, and there's not really content wise as much there, and it's always time gated, and it's a whole thing of just not as good as it used to be as before we had season. Season is just not as compelling or as good in my opinion, and I'm just playing to play with my friends, and the only reason I'm playing now is get higher levels and stuff is for trials, but even then I'm not going to bother with all the pinnacle drops because it's whatever, it's not worth it. It's just not a fun time to do that stuff. It's the balance of difficulty versus fun. It's not worth my time in my opinion. It's not a fun time, and it's all these extra layers that they add on. Like it's basically back in the day when they had like all the Nightfall modifiers, but like there's so many now. It's like they added champions, they added so many just like added on difficulty layers of like, you think I'm gonna do that for fun in my free time? No, because it's not a fun time in my free time. Go for yourself. Game in the B.
The bee.
And Charles is back, and I guess I'll be getting at least 3 wins to get the weapons every week. But five's a struggle bus, and flawless is like still a pipe dream. So maybe sometime it'll happen. But I am still unflawless or not flawless in Destiny 2.
Unflawless?
Or I guess not flawless. There we go. It's still not flawless in Destiny 2. So
you're flawed.
Maybe
Is that
so.
what you're saying?
I'm a very flawed person. Yes. Definitely not flawless in Destiny 2 anytime soon, probably, but here's hoping. So whatever. But I played some Monster Hunter to get like the weekly celestial gem or whatever the thing is you get from doing all the weekly bounties. Celestial print.
Oh, the print. Yeah.
Yes, that. So I can just like get whatever if I ever need a gem or whatever. Oh, I was farming the Timber Gigante for the Great Spirit Bane gems, because dude, you need that for like a lot of stuff. And I was like, ooh, but then Disney came out, or the new season came out, and I was like,
Disney's been out.
The new season dropped, so I've been playing that. I did. I want to get like 100 though, because like it's not that bad. It's like 10 minutes to run. Man, I had so many good teams where it's just like we would just clear it so fast. And it's like, it feels so good when you can play with other good people. And like since we're like like you've said in the past, like you don't have to like the meta builds, and like you just play your game. And like whatever, and like I had like the funniest thing happen where it's like because you like in that fight it's basically like a circular arena, and like you jump in, and so like someone jumped in and like was like just one shot, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure if they can do this, but then we ended up clearing it in like in time, or under time, or just like in good time, like I said 10 minutes, and I was like, that was actually a funny thing. I kind of wanted to share, but I didn't want to like embarrass the person that it happened to. Like maybe they're just at a bad angle.
Maybe they need to be just embarrassed. Ain't good.
Gigante has like a lot of powerful attacks, and it's like you just jump into them. It's not a fun time if your armor or your skills are not set properly, like Divine Blessing or High Defense, and it's like, oh, you were a glass cannon and you got broken to pieces, 1,000 glass shards, like a Shikun Jewel Shard in Inuyasha. Actually, that's not made of glass, whatever. But yeah, no, I'm just making an example, analogy, whatever, what have you. But yeah,
it did break pretty easily though for some kind of super crystal.
Right? It's just like an arrow from like way far away.
She has some amazing aim. It's like
maybe it was like some sort of celestial.
Well, she has
power.
She has spiritual power, but it's like still though, it's like it was like the tip of an arrow and it like exploded into pieces. So it's like, well then, we are probably not a great MacGuffin if we could just be thrown all over the place like that, are we? And that is how the anime spanned 60,000 episodes. Because there were literal shards. But back on topic. It's Destiny 2.
I think that's all I've been playing. I'm just waiting for April's games. And then I want to get to 100 so I can basically replay next month's games I'm looking forward to. But the PS1 or the most modern versions I have of them. So the PS1 version of Nemesis and then the PS4 version of 7, because it's been a while since I replayed it, and I had to hunt down my strategy guide because I was like, I know I've got the original somewhere, and it was funny because it wasn't with my strategy guides in my boxes of strategy guides, and I was like, where's it at? And I was like looking, and apparently it was my gaming magazines. I was like, why is this in here? I was like, whatever, dude. It's just like I need to like go through all my stuff again. It's like whatever. I just
organize it properly.
It's like, yeah, whenever Last of Us comes out in May, hopefully it's like at the end of the month and like the beginning of the month, I can just spend reorganizing, spring cleaning all my garbage. I mean, not garbage, but like all my stuff, all my I almost said all my crap.
He said what he said.
Like all these physical trinkets I've accumulated over my lifetime. But that's all I've been playing.
I had to think about it for a moment because it's been busy and I don't remember playing a lot.
So you didn't finish Ni no Kuni Tropical?
I have not finished Ni no Kuni.
I told you that was
coming. Did I say I was going to finish it this week?
Or last didn't.
Week? Or whatever?
I already knew you weren't going to.
Yeah, I knew
to
that
the shock
too.
of no one.
So yeah, why are we even talking about it? Of course I didn't finish it.
Because Tekken likes to bring up disappointments. That's why.
No, I did play Ni no Kuni though yesterday. So I there's like a part where like everything is turned on its head, and then I guess we're gonna go face the true evil or whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess they were in all the cutscenes. They just never made it seem like those would be the people who this all came down to.
It always is. It's always them.
So yeah, I guess the mission that it has for me now, it says prepare for the final battle. So I'm like, oh cool, is this the final battle? Probably not, but because they faked me out before. But
No, probably actually.
yeah,
Then
making
is it
making,
like a? Are you going to a giant castle thingy in the sky?
yes,
Then
that's
yes,
what
it
we're
is.
doing.
They didn't fake you out this time.
Oh, this is the final battle.
This is it. This is it, bruh. All comes
Wow,
down to this.
I could be there. I could
Don't worry,
finish
it's gonna be
it.
it's gonna be a lot easier than you expect.
Yeah,
After all
like
the trials and tribulations this game put you through, it's like, wait, that's it?
it was only like the ice area that gave me a lot of problems because, well, I didn't get the equipment because I didn't check the shop, and nope, that was the main reason. So now, yeah, everything else has been a lot easier since then. I think I am somewhat over leveled because now I'll go to a new area. Usually, you go to a new area, and the mobs that see you on the world map will be like, "Oh, I want to kill that kid," for some
But
reason.
now they're just like, run!
Yeah, now I get to a new area and they're just like, "Run, run!"
Why aren't you running faster? That kid's got a wand!
It's not even
He didn't have
sharp
a wand,
anymore.
said the narrator. He did. It's not about the sharpness of the wand, it's how you wand it. It's been a long year. Leave me alone.
Now that we're talking about it, yeah, it's like in the beginning when you have the sharp wand, it's like, why is he hitting them with it? Shouldn't he try to poke them with it?
He's a kid. He's stupid. I don't know how that works. Well, he is. It's not his fault. Dumb jit. I don't even know. Mom is dying.
Oh, I
Anime
watched
character.
the Ni no Kuni movie on Netflix.
Oh, was it good?
Yeah, it's pretty decent. It's like, I guess I never knew what Ni no Kuni was about, until I
That
played
is a funny statement, Tropical, seeing as you almost got into the end of the game.
Well, no, like it took playing it to know what it was about, which is
Turns out
which
we
is
were all
crazy.
No cool.
But yeah, because
were-
originally when I played the first time, which was almost, I made it nowhere in the game. I thought it was a game about like regular world kid goes to another world and has some sort of adventure, and then like the second one released and it was like a different character and everything, and I was like, so maybe it's like Final Fantasy and they're not related, or I have no idea. And then now that I know that it's a game about like how the two worlds are connected, it's like, oh, okay. So
We were all connected the whole time.
yeah, like
Tropical.
that's the main thing. So like the movie is all different characters too. But
They're trying to make Ni no Kuni happen, but
it's about
it's not
that
going to happen.
connection.
So it's like Narnia?
No. Shut your stupid mouth.
Yeah, not
That's
really.
something.
Oh, he said how the two different worlds are connected, so I was like,
Yeah, but connected in the sense that it's like they're basically parallel worlds, so like the
Yeah.
people like all exist in the other world, but it's different people.
oh, I see.
Oh my gosh, pick up a game sometime. Know stuff about everything, Tekken. I'm just kidding. It's not the game
Yeah,
is
like
that great.
stuff that happens to one world's people, that person happens to them, or they have like similarities and stuff in both worlds. So
It's kind of like Tales of Symphonia, but more extreme.
yeah. So now I actually have no idea what the second game is about. But I'm
You're a
almost done with the
king.
first game, and apparently, and yay, that's that's gonna be something.
It's not. It's going to be very disappointing, actually.
Oh, good.
You are not going to be very excited about it. And then, you'll be like, so this is Ni no Kuni, huh? And then it's going to be like, yep, this is me the whole time. I was the Kuni of the Nino. And
Oh.
Yeah, I guess. What did I? Oh, I started up Final Fantasy 15 just to see it because I was
stand
like,
by me.
yeah, that's right at the beginning.
It is.
It was weird because, first off, I'll say like Final Fantasy 7 Remake graphically looks way better.
Obviously.
It has been like I didn't think it had been that long, but now like looking, I was like, oh, I guess this game came out like a while ago. So wow, that is insane. How much has changed?
They've had time to kind of play around with the technical specs now, so
Yeah, just like
so you're all welcome, Final Fantasy
so
7
different.
fans. You can thank Nomura for finally doing something properly. He said, having finally played Kingdom Hearts 3 after 15 years. It's fine. It's fine. Waiting for that or anything.
Oh man.
I haven't really gotten anywhere in the game because I was like, well, if I get into this, then Ni no Kuni, I might as well start over now.
Yeah, I just want to say, 3 years later. So, guys, I went back to Ni no Kuni, had no idea what was going on, and had to restart the entire game. So, yeah.
That is like a weird choice, Child of College. Like, let me just start this JRPG up while I haven't finished the other one. I've been slowly plotting through
I just
for
wanted
a
to see it
while.
because I was like, oh man, Remake is so pretty, and I was like, yeah, I want to see other Final
That's
Fantasy
what
stuff.
you
And
say.
I was like, oh, it is
No.
not as much.
That's how it always starts.
Then you wanted to see more, and you're like, oh, let me just keep playing. Oh, what's behind the next corner? Oh,
40 hours later.
It helped that the game is pretty different, and I thought it felt pretty hard. Like the first battle I ever got into, I got knocked out like 4 times.
Well, it's only because you went from playing a semi-turn-based RPG to like a straight-up action RPG.
I guess.
So
I
you
had
have to like learn the system.
it was
all
mostly
over
like
again, basically.
my buddies like doing all the work, and I'm just like getting taken out. I was like, I don't know what's happening, you guys. Maybe the king was right. Maybe I am worthless.
It's all part of the master plan, Tropical.
Yeah. What did I? Besides Ni no Kuni. Oh, I guess I rented a game called Aces of the something. Left. It's like
wow,
a German
Tropical.
word. I don't know.
You
It's
rented
like
a game and you don't even remember what it was called.
Aces of the something. Well, that is.
here. I'll look at it. Aces of the Luftwaffe.
Oh, that one.
Oh, of the what now?
The Luftwaffe.
Bloody blazes is that?
I have no idea how to pronounce it,
Yeah.
so that's probably why I didn't remember it either.
Is it a Muglove?
No, it's not.
No,
That's
it's a
funny.
arcadey like planes, World War II planes shooting other World War II planes on like a side scroller shooter. Or actually, I had rented the second one, which I didn't know there were 2 of them. I thought one was like the original, and then one was the like complete edition or whatever, because it called it like the Squadron edition. So I was like, oh, okay, so that's like an expansion, or it includes all the DLC or something. And then I found out that it's actually 2 different games. One is the first one, and one is the second one. So I was playing the Squadron one, and I thought, oh, this is pretty fun. Each pilot has like you sort of level. There's sort of like a Diablo style level up tree, and I believe the game can be played 4-player co-op, but I was playing by myself, so it just becomes sort of like you're controlling one plane, and then the other 3 unique characters, those planes are like flying next to you, and you sort of just control all of them at the same time. And then you can like level each one of them up, and they have different stat boosts and active abilities and all these things that you can get. It's like, oh, this is kind of cool. So I went on PlayStation Now to see if it was on there. It was not, but the first one is on there. I was like, oh, okay. So I downloaded that one, and it seems clear to me that it's like a phone or a mobile game ported to PS4. Because like your sort of super ability that charges over time is like a big button on the screen. I'm like, well, I can't push that button since it's not a touchscreen, but okay, I see where this came from. And yeah, so I've been playing a lot of that, but it's pretty tough.
That's my actual question. Do you love it?
I did not hear the actual question.
I said, do you love it?
Oh.
Do you love it?
I mean, I'm gonna play through it. I don't know yet.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Trickle's like, I don't know if I love it yet. Maybe eventually.
Do you effing love it or not? We need answers! What's in the box?
Probably. No, I found since I've been, focusing on games in a way that or individual games in a way that I've never done before. Yeah, I don't like playing the same game day after day after day. And so having these like very different games, playing all of them at concurrently is like a nice way to do it. So like this game is it's like an arcadey type game, so it's very just sort of pick up, play a little while, and then like, okay, I'm done, and then just can throw it aside and go back to Ni no Kuni or whatever else it was that I was trying to get through. Battlefront 2, yes. I haven't played that at all. Because that one now, I just know, it's like, well, the only thing left is to grind up to 50. I can do that whenever. Preferably, I would do it on like a triple XP or double XP weekends. And so I'm just not gonna bother until one of those shows up.
So when you get the platinum chapter core, you can keep playing that, or you're just gonna go to something else?
I don't know. It's actually really good now. Like,
or
yeah,
like, you just feel the urge to have an Ewok hunt and be like,
yeah,
Ewok
hunt is
Ewoks,
amazing.
Attack formation.
The thing is, back in the beginning of this generation, I platinumed Battlefield 4, Battlefield 4, just like kind of by accident, because I was just playing it a lot. And then afterwards, I was like, well, it's fun. And so I was just like playing it. And then I think I lost interest after all of the expansions came out and I was trying to get trophies in those. But like people weren't playing the expansions. They were all playing. It was like in the early days where they felt like it was a good idea to do like season map passes. And then it's like, well, what happens when you divide up the community? And I guess back then the answer was money. And so yeah, like the new maps, there are far fewer people playing them, and it was like discouraging because you got to get. I think all the trophies are like certain number of kills with certain weapons, and it's like, well, if there's no one here, that's really hard. Yeah. So Battlefront 2. I mean, I guess if I felt like I had all the time in the world, I would continue to play it. But then since I'm trying to finish games, I might just like stop and just be like, well, I like it, but I don't have the time. I need to prioritize the stuff that I haven't opened. God of War, which I have opened, but I haven't played.
Man,
so,
You still haven't played God of War?
I know.
I mean, I can't get any more disappointed than I already am, so it's fine. It's fine at this point.
I'm working on it. So like I'm gonna play Valkyria Chronicles, I think, after Ni no Kuni.
You know, Tropical,
Like
when you
the
say you're
original
working
one?
on it, and you're like, after this JRPG, I'm gonna go to their JRPG. That's not going to get you to God of War sooner. I'm just saying, that's not actually a good or a good plan. So,
But
no.
like Valkyria Chronicles is way older, right?
Still a long game. Doesn't matter how
Really
old
is.
it is.
So what
Just
you're saying is God of War is shorter?
it is.
I mean,
actually.
Okay.
they're both actually fairly long, but I mean, God of War probably is shorter than Valkyria Chronicles.
'Cause I have no idea.
You're in it for the long haul either way, so none of these games are like short. So
It's a short game that is surprising that I haven't finished. Oh, I guess I haven't played the final season of The Walking Dead.
Shame,
I have-
shame.
Or I haven't
shame.
even played past season 2, I think. So
'Cause that
you're
one
fine.
I did not expect to be finished, and then when they did, yeah, just I don't know.
Yeah, I was behind on that season, but then when it got like halted, I was like, well, let me catch up when they do finish it. And then they finished it, so I was like, okay, I gotta catch up. And then I was ready to go when it was out, and I was like, oh man. So yeah, I'm the only one that has finished my Clementine's journey.
Well, my Clementine was very likely going to become a killer anyway, so I was probably sparing her the horrible reality of life.
At least on PC, because I haven't
You're
played
welcome,
it on
my
PS4.
Clementine.
Hmm.
You're welcome. I spared you.
Yeah. So is that all I've been playing?
Who even knows, man? We don't know your life.
I know. I don't know. So.
We all played Survival Simulator this week.
Well,
IRL edition.
that was forced, so not exactly fun.
So you mean we
Or-
played survival?
Or whatever you want to call it. Global Pandemic Simulation IRL edition. You're in the simulation right now.
Can I get a refund on mine?
I don't think I like this game.
I really don't. It's like, so I want to return this. It's like, it's kind of awful, and everyone keeps dying. So, yeah, 0 out of 10 would not recommend. And
Oh, I guess like recently I did play through the Dreams single player. Did you play that one
did
yet?
you love it?
I have not played it yet, no.
Did
It
you
is-
love it?
It's quite varied. I like how it ends. The ending part is really cool, and it just, man, I can't wait to see the kind of stuff that people come up with in Dreams.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be a really cool experience because they seem like they've done a lot of good stuff in there. I do want to pick it up just to support them, even if I'm not going to make anything out of it because ain't nobody got time for that. But
Oh my gosh. For building, there are so many tutorials.
yeah, even in like the beta, I was like, man, this is a lot. This is a lot of work, man. So for anybody who's been like in it and creating stuff, good job on you, because woof, that is work.
But yeah, like the single player campaign is really varied. There's like point and click adventure parts, platforming parts, side scrolling shooter parts, on rails like third person shooting parts. Yeah, so 4 things. Maybe not that varied, but pretty varied. Like more varied than I thought it would be. Like Little Big Planet really was like platformer all the way through, and I guess, primarily it was designed for people to make platformers. And then with this being, you can make whatever. And everything we made for the single player campaign, if you had our team of people, you could make it too.
If you had our team of people.
Because like even the cutscenes and everything are made in Dreams.
I do want to make some sweet cutscenes, actually. I've always loved cutscenes and just cutscenes in games, so I just want to make some like sweet action scenes and just
Yeah.
Kojima, this is for you. Or like, love letter to Kojima.
It's not creepy at all.
You have inspired me all these years. Please, like my dream cutscene.
Oh gosh, hurry up and notice him, senpai. Hurry. It's getting creepy.
So yeah, it could be really awesome in like a year when people are sinking thousands of hours into this to make sweet Kojima cutscenes or whatnot.
Being creepers who creep.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much what I've been playing. RPG? You got Neo?
I did, because it came out, which is great, because with everything falling apart, it's good to have something to like keep me busy so I don't realize it. The whole world fall apart around me. But it's all fine. Oh gosh. So yeah. So I got Neo 2. I actually just recently got to the second area, but initially when I first got it, I was kind of just trying to like power level so I can like, play around with stuff and see how everything is, change battle system wise. So they've added some new stuff and added some new weapons because now you can turn into a demon in this one, and they added like a new like gigantic greatsword type of weapon, the Odachi, the switchglaive, which can turn to different forms, which is a scythe, spear or a halberd type thing, and then like a handheld half chakram thing, a bob, and then the double hatchets, and then the tonfas as well. So they added some new stuff. Most people, it seems like they just a lot of people are just sticking to like the basic stuff like katanas, and then just like doing the odachi or the switchglaive. So I haven't seen a lot of people using the other new weapons, but I guess those are like the power weapons, so it's like easier for people to kind of just like get strong things and then just like hit things until they die type of situation. But then it doesn't work all the time because people I've been playing with get murdered, and I'm just like, man, you guys are doing the most over here, and it's not doing a good job at all. So there's been lots going on, and the game I think is, if I'm not mistaken, is a prequel actually to the original game. It's like set quite a bit.
What? It's a prequel.
It's a prequel. So the protagonist from the original game is not in this one, as you play a completely different person that you can create your own thing, and then
not even
it has created a character.
It has created a character, and it will probably take you a while to create your character because they have quite a few options. And but yes, it is a prequel. So those who are hoping to see William and his shenanigans again, you will not, because I don't think he exists. So because I think it takes place like hundreds of years before, or no, it can't be hundreds of years. It had to be like, it's a decent amount of time before. But yes.
Wasn't the first game in like the 1800s or something?
Yeah, well, it's before that. So
what? Wow.
So yeah.
Feudal Japan.
So you have ninjas and samurai running around, people trying to start wars, people turning into demons, people getting stabbed by demons, demons eating demons, demons everywhere, demon beside the demon. A lot of demons going on, guys. A lot of demoning. So
Netflix, get on this, please.
Yes. Oh, yes, please.
There need to be more demon hunting, demon killing title properties.
Yes. But the game's super fun. I mean, I kind of already knew I was going to like it anyway because I played all the betas and demos that they had before the game was officially released. So I kind of had an idea of how to play. Now, they have changed some of the stuff that they from the demos. I think they were kind of like taking feedback and stuff when every time they were releasing it, because there are some changes that they've done, because like some of the play styles for some of the weapons have changed a little bit. Same with the combos. They also changed the skill tree that they have for each weapon and each of the abilities and stuff, because I know in the initial beta that they first had, there was no way for you to actually like upgrade your demon form or anything, but this one, the demon form has a skill tree of its own in the final version of the game. So you do get to like add different skill, or you do get to like get different abilities and stuff for that. And then there's also 3 different demon forms based on the spirit you have as your guardian spirit. So there's three different forms. The brute form is based on, power, giant Oni with the club type of deal. The feral one is like a dual blade wielding, like very quick, slender, tall, demon-looking thingy. And then the phantom is the magic-based one. It has two floaty spear thingies, and it floats around and uses like distance attacks and stuff to fight. And then each of them has like different counter abilities and all this other stuff going on. So you do have to learn a few more things. So there's a bit more technical stuff going on in the game now because they did add more gameplay elements. But I mean, it does kind of just make it fun. The game is a little bit difficult, so it's like you're not gonna just hop in there and just be all killing everything, no matter how much you power level. So don't get too cocky when playing, because I've seen it happen, and people are just like, "I got this," and they get violently murdered, and it's just like, well, should have learned your lesson. Should have learned your lesson. Some enemies have like attack patterns that you can kind of like remember if you fight them often enough, and then like they at least like kind of have like a telltale sign for the like when they're about to do like one of the attacks you can burst counter, because then the enemy like has like this flash of red in their eyes, and then they kind of like wind up and do the attacks. So you kind of have plenty of time to respond, so it's not just like cheap where it's just like LOL, we're just gonna go ahead and like murderize you. So the game is difficult, but it's still fair, so it's not just like cheap difficulty like a lot of these games like to be nowadays. So that's a good thing. So it stops it from being like, oh my gosh, I don't want to play this because it's not fun. Another new addition is that you basically can go through the entire game co-op if you'd like. The expeditions can now be done regardless of you can do them from the beginning and just set up your room and just go through each one as they unlock, and then you don't have to. So now you don't have to like just do random searches or just like join other people's games as a visitor and stuff now. So if you have friends that also have the game that you want to play with, you can kind of just play through co-op if you'd like, and then you can all have fun without having to be like, oh, I have to wait for you to get past this, or I have to wait for you this kind of thing. So that is also another benefit as well. So yeah, and I've pretty much been doing that for the most part. I've been building my character as more of a mage, but it takes a while to like unlock magic in the game. So all my stats were like useless until like later on when I actually unlocked stuff, and I was like, okay, now I can actually do stuff, guys. I'm not useless anymore. So, sorry all the people I played with that had to deal with me being half useless because I refused to use my skill points in anything. Welcome to I will hoard until the day I die, and you will like it.
I think you need to see someone about that problem.
I refuse.
It's like Sekiro. I don't use these skill points. You too. I don't use these skill points.
Co-op, eh?
There's too many like.
I like being an anchor on my team and not using skill points to help us progress.
I've helped a lot of people in Sekiro, or get through not Sekiro in like the Souls games. So you know what? They can be happy about it because suck it. Hoarding can help you out in the long run.
I've never been back to Bloodborne since you carried me, because I'm like scared of everywhere.
And that all came from me hoarding skill points. Because then I can like super turn my character into like this super customized person that I want, instead of like doing it slowly. And then yes, it does take a little extra time to get to that point. But you know what? Once you finally do, it's like, yeah. Who's laughing now, people? Who's laughing now? Because I'm amazing. And they're just like, you're right. We're sorry, RPG forever doubting you. You are amazing. And it's like, yeah, damn right I am. So,
so would you do the same thing even if you could reset your skill points?
You can reset them.
No, I'm just saying, like, why would you hoard them if you can just reset them?
Oh, but you can't. Yeah, but it's like to reset them, it requires like an expensive item, and I don't know.
Oh, I'm just saying, a good game will have that be a thing without you having to have it be a major hamper on your resources.
Skill points, you can't ever like anytime you have to reset them, it requires like something for you to reset. It's not like something where you could just like do it just to do it kind of thing. Because if you were constantly respecking your skills, then it's like you just kind of like you'd kind of be able to just do whatever. It's like there'd be no consequence to you having to learn the system and everything. So they kind of like restrict it, so you can't just like keep on doing it and everything. But That's why you need to think about it before you go doing it, and that's why I hoard my skill points so I could do that instead of having to just be like, oh my gosh, I have to hurry up and get this thing so I can change my skill points because I didn't think about this ahead of time because I'm stupid and I was trying to just be fast and strong even though I'm not either of them now. So yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna continue hoarding points until I die, and you guys can suck it, cause suck it. And besides, it ended up helping me out in Sekiro because it's like with them it's like it wasn't like the game isn't like really stats based. You really only have like your vitality and your poise for the battle system. Like so your skill points are really just you like being able to use different skills. So as long as you're like good at deflecting and stuff, you actually don't even need the skills if you're just that amazing, which I was, suck it. And then
But did you finish Sekiro?
I'm on the final boss right now. I just stopped playing.
Oh,
I've
look
gotten
at that.
away.
It's almost a year later, Virginia. You did not finish the game. How amazing are you?
I didn't finish it because I didn't want to. I can already listen. My character's already so overpowered. Like I can blow through the boss's forms. Like I went in there just to like see how strong I was, and I killed like his first 2 forms and like a few sword swipes. So I was like, yeah, I'll be fine. So I was like, okay, I'll go back to this later. And then some other game came out, and I completely forgot about Sekiro. And then it won Game of the Year. So everybody still suck it. So that's my response to that.
Oh.
That is my response to that.
Didn't win Game of the Year for me.
Yeah, well, you suck, so shut up. But yeah, I've been enjoying I almost said Bloodborne. Tropical threw me off. Although Bloodborne is a fun game. So and I think it's free. It was free on PlayStation Plus. So
yep.
You could have gotten it if you'd like. And I do recommend. And if you need somebody to help carry you through, just let me know. I've done it before. But
guess I would like to see the ending.
Yeah, you probably should eventually, I guess. And then that'll kind of give me something to do in Bloodborne. Or you can get like the Souls games too. I can help you with those. But it plays a lot differently than Bloodborne, so I don't know. I don't know what you want to do in that regard, but yeah. I've been enjoying Neo 2. It's been a fun little romp. I like all the gameplay changes that they've made, so it's a lot of fun to go through this thing. But I'm only in the second area. So there's still a lot to be done, stuff I still haven't unlocked yet. So obviously it's still fairly early in the game. So I played with Dagger yesterday a few times. So we went through some of the levels and shenanigans happened, and she got exploded a few times. It was hilarious, good times. We had fun. But yeah, that's all I've been playing.
Middle segment time. Tropical, take it away.
Cool. Well, I guess, yeah. First, a little bit of news. Because of the state of
falling
stuff.
apart.
Yep. A few games, if you bought them physically, you may not get them on launch date. And so far, it's been Final Fantasy VII. They say, yeah, they're going ahead with the April 10th launch date, so the game isn't delayed. But because of everything that's going on, they may not be able to get it to you on that day. So
bright side, it's finished.
Unless it's being delivered by Sam Porter's Bridges, which
Yes.
hopefully it is, but probably not, because he's a fictional character in Death Stranding, which you don't want to be in that universe anyway. But you kind of already are, but not really. But yeah.
He also lives in a darkest timeline.
So yeah, they don't have any more specifics than that. They're just saying it's just something to be aware of. Next up, Animal Crossing New Horizons is coming out this Friday, and this isn't like general from Nintendo, but Amazon has been saying that you might not get it on release day because they are prioritizing like important stuff.
Essential stuff.
Yes.
Video games aren't essential.
I mean, when people need medicine, probably not.
So, yeah, that's some of the news.
Yes, delays on delays, people canceling conferences, people out here dying. It's just been a
People
fun.
are dying in RPG.
It's been a fun couple of months, and we still got another like 9 to go. So
Yeah, right.
you
It's
know.
like, isn't this a great first quarter? Isn't it great? Nowhere to go but up, right? Right? No. Okay.
He said, the narrator, knowing that it wasn't going to go anywhere up.
It was only gonna
So
go down.
the year starts with Australia on fire and global pandemic. How's it get worse? Who knows?
I
'Cause the
mean,
Darkest Timeline has not achieved its final form yet, so
not
we're
true.
still waiting.
not anticipated on that one.
It's like, is it the Darkest Timeline's final form? Is it? No? Okay, let's just, right when we think we're like, oh man, this is it, this is the end, something even worse happens. So,
Scientists have discovered massive asteroid heading towards Earth. There's no hope. It's like, sounds about right.
If we don't get through this in the good way, yeah, that's the next thing. Well, so some good news. If you're a PC owner who's never owned a PlayStation and don't have PlayStation now, Horizon Zero Dawn will be on PC in the summer, I believe.
You should play it if you haven't. The game is great because you get to stab robot dinosaurs in the butt. So, made a song about it. So,
And I like to say that it is the best game of this console generation, and I have not yet given that to anything yet, or else yet. So I mean, Last of Us 2 could still take it, but who knows? Not out yet. Tsushima still not out, but
you're not going to be able to stab robot dinosaurs in the butt in Last of Us.
yeah, those also are not new IPs that are not sequels or doing something new and different. So maybe not. We'll see. Well, probably not. Though. Also, dolphin puree. Have you ever had one? They're disgusting. Probably.
Have you had one?
No, but they're really disgusting. And it's like a whole thing in that game of this log entry that you find, and you're just like, no, why?
I mean,
There's so many bad log entries in that game. It's just like how dark the Darkest Timeline got for them, and it's like, oh man.
we warned ourselves, guys. We warned ourselves so many times. Yet here we are, stabbing robot dinosaurs in the butt. So,
It's like case in point for too much technology, too much, too fast, too soon. There you go, right there. Horizon Zero Dawn, play it. Yeah, maybe just pump the brakes a bit, Elon Musk. Just saying.
Well, they weren't all bad. One of them was actually benevolent. Just didn't end well, is all. You win some, you lose some,
Yikes. Well, so I think both happened this week. On Monday, I believe, or was it last week? God, I don't remember. Anyway, we have gotten a much clearer picture of the technical specs on the two next-gen consoles, both still scheduled, optimistically, for the end of the year. Xbox Series X had their debut on Digital Foundry, so it was very technical and learned a lot of new stuff. Some of the most exciting things, I think, are backwards compatibility games will run better on Series X. They'll have like resolution boosts and things like that, so that's pretty cool. It's a lot of teraflops. Only partially sure what that means. I guess it's more powerful. It's supposed to be, what's the number they've been using? Like 2 times more powerful than Xbox One X, and 4 times more powerful than the original Xbox One.
I don't know what any of that means.
It's better. And then I don't know. That's what it means.
You could just say it's quantitatively faster.
Yes. Okay. Do that. It's quantitatively faster.
Just do that.
Big number means faster. And then for extra storage, they have these sort of have you seen a hard drive before? They're like these little
In
small
general?
boxes, right?
Yes.
And then like solid state drives for a while, they made them shaped like those little boxes, but there's no reason to do it that way. And so now they can make these basically little chip boards that are terabytes of storage. And I guess the Xbox One X that's going to be very confusing for a long time. Xbox Series X will use these little chip cards that are 1 terabyte of storage to expand the solid state drive that is now the standard for next generation consoles. So yeah, I guess a lot of people are pretty excited about that. I'm still most excited for Xbox Series X based on how it looks. I think the box looks cool.
Tropical.
And that's
what are
it.
we gonna do with you?
And
What are we gonna do with you?
you know, it would be more. It would make less sense if I had a Xbox One of any type. But since I never got one, and they have, essentially full backwards compatibility, like a Series X would be cool because then I could make up for the generation I didn't play, and then also be ready for whatever exclusive stuff they make a year from now, or a year from launch. And then yesterday,
But what about the Super Sex RPG? I mean, Tropical.
The what?
The Super Xbox Series X, or like the Xbox One X equivalent of the Series X, of like the Pro version.
See,
or the.
Well,
I mean, what's going to happen.
I'll get to it, but like, I have never, like, the whole Xbox One X thing I thought was kind of a mistake. Just because, like, it's really expensive, but not that much better. Or it is that much better just because the original one was that much worse, I guess. So in comparison, it feels like that much better. Anyways, yesterday was the PlayStation 5 reveal. Sony was like, oh, we're going to reveal details on the PlayStation 5, and everyone got super excited. And then it was like an extremely technical talk.
Man, it was a bummer, dude. It was like a GDC talk. And it was like, after you said that at the beginning, I was like, dude, this is just going to be numbers, isn't it? And it was just numbers. And I was like, man, that F out.
Watch it.
It was an extremely technical talk. It wasn't actually all just numbers, but it was like, like Mark Cerny came up and he started it by saying, there will be time to see games later. Today we're just going to talk about sort of the philosophy behind PlayStation 5.
We need to see games.
We're not going to see any games. And then,
we need happiness in our lives.
Right? It's like, do it for the planet. Jeez. Your planet needs you, Sony.
We saw no PlayStation 5 games. We saw a screenshot from Dead Space, a screenshot from Jak and Daxter.
It's like, I've already played those games.
And a map of like, we used to have to hide this stuff, but now we don't have to. Look at this map, overhead map at that. And some Spider-Man stuff of like maps, but not quite maps, but not quite screenshots. It's like, this is the chunk of data that is a map that loads, and it loads slow because of this. But we don't have to do it anymore. We've got super speed on our side now.
Gotta go fast. Gotta go faster, 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 faster.
Yeah, so for PlayStation 5...
That would be the theme of the talk RPG. They're going to go very fast.
It's going to go fast.
And it's going to make a lot of heat, but they
Sega's going to make a lot of money in royalties.
Alright, so yeah, basically it boils down to 3 things. They're focused on talking to developers, which they did for the PlayStation 4, just like going out and finding out what developers think will really help the next gen. And people are like, solid state drive. So they're like, okay, we'll do a solid state drive. But, they didn't just go and get solid state drives from the store and just like put them in. They sort of thought ahead. Like, well, what are the solid state drives of the future going to be like? And so, like last year when there was that Wired article about solid state drive in the PS5, they said this is faster than any solid state drive on the market. Like, you can't buy this right now. And while that is still mostly true, they anticipate that solid state drives, when the PS5 is released, will be faster.
What exactly is a solid state drive for those of us who aren't super tech savvy?
So hard drives.
It was that too. That was great. It was like, oh, sorry, Dr. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll get out of the way.
Get out of the way.
So up until recently, we've used hard drives, which are, you can think of them as like a stack of CDs.
Oh, okay.
Or it's easiest to think, I think, if you think of them as like a stack of vinyls. It's like a stack of vinyls, and we've written all of our data onto the vinyls. And so in order to get the data, you have to spend time moving the needle to where the data is before you can read it. Right? So there's like, there's a lot of
so you
mechanical...
can't just like play the whole song without it being like there, basically.
Right, so there. Like, if you wanted to pick a spot, say, or you wanted a certain song, you would have to like find the spot on the correct vinyl. So it's a stack of vinyl. So you gotta find the correct vinyl, you gotta find the correct spot, and then you can read it and actually play the song. And so that all takes time. And that is mostly why reading from a hard drive is slow compared to reading from internal memory. And internal memory is just like circuits, and they're just on or off. And if you just like encode all of your data in that way, then there is no like seeking time, essentially. Like, you never have to move the needle. You just know where everything is. So solid state drives are basically that, but now we're able to make them big enough that we can use them as hard drives. Like before, that kind of memory was expensive, and you couldn't, like, if you wanted a gigabyte of it, I guess it's sort of like RAM, not really, but like RAM. 20 years ago, I remember 1 megabyte of RAM cost something like $40. So like, your computer now probably has 4 gigabytes, so that's like 4,000 times 4, like, immensely.
It would be very expensive.
Yeah, it would have been very expensive. But now, like, we can make these things with terabytes of data or capacity, and they're not hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Could you imagine?
So yeah, they're like way faster because no seek time.
Put a down payment on this.
But it's just like, you know, a lot of things that developers have worked on over the years have been things, sort of techniques to overcome the limitations of our hardware. So for seek times, they've done things like, well, if we put this data in lots of different places on the disk, like if we record the song 50 different times in different places on the disk, then during the seek,
it's already there.
Yeah, it's like chances are you don't have to go to that one place. Maybe there's a closer one. It's like McDonald's strategy or Starbucks.
Put them everywhere. Hope for the best.
If we had transporters, there would only be one Starbucks out in Seattle, and they would just beam the coffee to everyone who ordered it.
It's the future.
Yeah.
It's the future, guys.
But we don't have that. And yeah, they could not do that on a
Absolutely
Blu-ray
not.
disc, and they couldn't do that on a hard drive. Or no, that's what they did. They opened lots of Starbuckses. So yeah, with solid state, well, you don't need to do that. So it's like, well, our game's going to be smaller? It's like, well, they'll have less duplicated data, so they could be bigger. And if there's no seek times, like, well, can we make the worlds like way bigger because, you know, we're not using this slow memory thing in the middle anymore? It's like, yeah, we could. And so, yeah, solid state drives just enable a lot of different things that we just haven't been able to do before. So yeah, like both of the next gen consoles will have solid state drives, but and maybe Microsoft focused on this as well, but they did not go into this long technical talk on, well, why is that important and what's kind of cool. So it's sort of neat to have Sony, to a certain audience, it's neat to hear them talk about, this is something that we focused on because we thought this would be cool. It would be cool if we could do these things, and solid state drive makes that possible. And they went for very fast transfer rates, and there was a part where, like right now, on your PS4, you could buy a solid state drive and put it in there.
I have one. Yeah.
But it's not going to be, like, if your solid state drive is, their example was like 20 times faster than a regular hard drive, your sort of performance, what you see on screen, is not going to be like 20 times, like loading is not going to be 20 times better. It's going to be maybe 2 times better.
It is significant, but it's not exponential.
Because there's like lots of other places where it could get bottlenecked. And so they worked on a lot of things to make sure that, to eliminate those bottlenecks, so that if your drive is 20 times faster, then what you get, the result is also going to be 20 times faster or whatever.
That was also cool on the example of like the memory when like crap. I can't remember like what specific part, but like the part when like the thing was going through the maze and like the stuff was like rendering in front of it, and it was like the stuff behind it was like fading out. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. It's just like we'll be able to load and unload stuff so quickly.
Yeah, like almost near instantaneous. It was like so amazing.
So that's pretty cool. That's one of the things they focused on. Another thing is that they went into more details with their actual chips. So the teraflop thing, they went into an explanation, I guess. Like, you could look at it as sort of a counter argument to having less teraflops than the Series X, which I believe they announced as like 12 point something. The PS5 will have 10 point something, and a lot of people are up in arms. They're like, PlayStation, you have failed. Like, you have less teraflops. I'm gonna buy Xbox, as people do.
Have a seat, people. Have a seat.
Mark Cerny gave this example. He, like, the way that teraflops are calculated was just like how many compute cores there are, which is, I guess, like how many calculators basically you have, and then it's multiplied by how fast they can calculate. And so the Series X has a lot of compute cores, but all of them run slower, whereas the PlayStation 5 has a fewer number of compute cores, but they all are faster. And he made the argument, it's like, he prefers it this way because it's like, first he made the argument, it's like, teraflops isn't the whole story. There's just like so many other things. And then the second argument he made was like, just that it's easier to use 36 calculators at the same time than using like 60 of them. And so possibly developers will be able to push more out of fewer cores because, you can just, like, it's easier to write less code, I guess. Or run, because you would have to figure out, okay, I want 50, however many, you want this many things to happen at the same time. So you got to come up with a list of 50 things that you want all to happen at the same time. And that's just harder than it is to come up with a shorter list of things to happen at the same time. And yeah, so this part was like just very technical. It's just like to talk about teraflops and calculating speed and all these things. And
yeah, at this point I was like, you know what, dude? I am like so beyond this. Like, I don't get it. I was like, I'm just here for the games. Like, I am so out of my depth as far as like the tech specs. I don't understand them. That just like, I don't care about speed anymore. They're both fast. It's all about the games now because you're in some sort of like esoteric teraflops speed, gigahertz, clock speed, RAM. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's beyond the stuff that I had been up to speed on before PS4, and it's like, you know what? I'm just not there anymore.
Yeah,
It's all about the games, dude.
It was
Whatever.
just really crazy. It was like, wow, you can see the entire chat going a mile a minute. Except everyone is just saying that they're asleep, and it's like there's so much snoring happening in the chat. This is insane. I think it was really cool actually that both Microsoft and Sony had Digital Foundry out earlier, and so they had articles ready to go when these things went live. So like while I was watching the PlayStation thing, I was reading Digital Foundry's like more more general audience like explanation of everything. Yeah, I guess the cool takeaway for me from the CPU GPU part was that or well, I guess two things. So one was the backwards compatibility thing, which is still like I guess kind of up in the air.
I was sad, man, because I was like, I saw that hot rumor, and I was like, oh man, is it going to be everything? And then they got to that part of the talk, and it was not. And I was like, oh man.
Have you seen the speculation? Like people were saying that slide of the presentation was like, well, PS5, PS4, and PS4 Pro, they fit in that small area at the top. There's still a lot of area on the bottom. Could it be?
I didn't see that.
People will do whatever they can to like.
No, that's not how motherboards work. So yeah, but whatever.
Yeah, it was very
Let
funny.
people dream, Tekken.
But yeah, like they are saying, I think their intention is for full backwards compatibility with PS4.
Now,
Because
in that regard, now they would have to like I'm assuming they would have to like do some type of like emulation or something for that to be a thing. Because I know previous consoles at some time actually had the actual hardware in there, so they could just do it that way. But obviously, you're not going to fit the hardware for like 5 different consoles, and unless the console is going to be like the size of my TV or something. So I'm
Well,
assuming they're going to be,
yeah.
they can do it software wise.
for previous generations, probably would have to do it software wise, unless some hardware breakthrough has happened. But as far as we know, that is not the case. But for PS4, because it's still like AMD making the chip, and from the beginning, I guess PlayStation has been about they want to have PS4 backwards compatibility for the next one. So the sort of actual logic that the PS4 uses is part of the PS5's GPU. So it's not like you're putting a PS4 chip inside of a PS5. It's just like the PS5 chip understands PS4 commands. And so like in this situation, you can't remove the PS4 part
It's
of
already
the PS5 without destroying the PS5 because they're part of the same thing. Whereas like the PS3 was a completely different chip than the PS2, and so they had to have a PS2 essentially inside of the PS3, and they could remove it without destroying the PS3 because they were like completely separate things. So yeah, backwards compatibility for PS4 games. They announced that they work in some sort of boost mode on the PS5 because yeah, same logic and whatnot. But because the PS5 is so much more powerful than the PS4, sometimes like game code can't handle it.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I was like, it's so fast. PS4 games break.
Yeah. So they are gonna have to test every title for backwards compatibility, and apparently they've tested the top 100 games as ranked by playtime, and so far it's pretty good. And so
So Destiny's definitely going to be one of them, I'm guessing.
yeah, probably. So they're saying that at launch, they're hoping at least those 100 will be playable. And then beyond, like there was some confusion at this point where people thought, oh, it's just boost mode. that isn't fully compatible, but everything is fully compatible. But then later, like on PlayStation Blog, it said top 100 will be compatible, and then there's like 4,000 PS4 games, and we're gonna work on compatibility as time goes on. So
that's a lot of games to test.
Yeah, it could be a while.
I mean, my thing is though. I mean, and I've said this before about backwards compatibility. It's like it's my main concern would be like the much older generations, because I mean, obviously I would already have my PS4, so it's not like I'm going to be like, oh no, my PS5 can't play my PS4 games. Like I already have a PS4, so it's not like a huge deal because it's already there. But it's like, if they're doing backwards compatibility, I would be more concerned about them, making like PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 games compatible, because I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't want to like. Well, first of all, I define where I put my old consoles even to begin with, but it's like that would be a bit, that would make more sense, because it's like, again, I already have my PS4, so it's like it's not a huge deal if like all of the games don't work immediately because I have my PS4. So
I think, yeah, it's hard to say now. I think it's gonna take a really concerted, like expensive effort to make it the way that we all dreamed. Whereas like PS5 is not only the PlayStation 5, it is the PlayStation because it plays all of the PlayStation games.
I'm gonna go home and play my PlayStation. All of them. All of the stations.
Like PS1, it seems like they've got emulation down, so to this day it is kind of a mystery why the PlayStation 4 doesn't have that.
Probably because they can sell the classics on the store. So I mean,
but they can't
sure.
Because they haven't. They've been doing PlayStation 2 stuff.
That is weird, actually, especially after that whole Crash Bandicoot sequence in Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
It's like, what the F, man?
Instead, like they've been remaking PlayStation 1 games, which, I guess I'm not totally against. Like,
also that it's like I kind of like both. Honestly, It's whatever. If I can like play the original,
do the whole generation.
Just redo it, that's like
do the whole generation.
It's a win-win, really. So
the only people that lose is no one.
But yeah, like at this point, that is something that Xbox, they went into it, like they went for it, and so that's why they have it. And PlayStation, it doesn't seem like they've gone for it. We've seen sort of hints that maybe they're doing it through like job listings and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe they're at this point where they're just like, well, if we just do it now, then it's sort of a Me Too thing. It's like, how important is backwards compatibility? Like right now, it's a really big thing on Xbox because
they have no library.
Maybe partially that, but also because like no other console really has it. And so that's a huge selling point for Xbox because no one else has it. But what happens when everyone has it?
But they've also been doing it, rolling it out slowly as well. So it's not like everything was immediate. So I mean,
That's
Sony
true.
could take that same approach and not be concerned about, be like, oh yeah, everything has to be immediately backwards compatible, because Microsoft does at least they'll release the list to be like, oh, these games are now backwards compatible with the Xbox whatever, and then it's like, then some months later you'd be like, oh, so now these are now compatible with this and this. So it's like, it's not like they were just like, yes, every game everywhere is all compatible now in one shot. So
I guess I feel like hype-wise, if you could come out and say, everything works now, enjoy, like that would be more exciting than saying, we're starting, these work, so stay tuned for more. Like that is less exciting.
That's also true because the Xbox 360, I don't know about Xbox 360, but Xbox Duke games, like not all of them work. So only some of them. But
it's like only a few of them, I think, so far.
So it's not actually fully backwards compatible. It's like asterisk backwards compatible, not everything from the beginning. So if like Sony could do something where it's like everything, it's like, ooh, then they would like win that battle.
Again, I'm not like this. I would like backwards compatibility, but that's not like my main feature. Again, at the end of the day, I do still own all my own my old consoles. I mean, if I wasn't lazy, I could just hook them up and play the game if I really wanted to. But it's like, don't want to. So it's like, yes, I would ultimately like backwards compatibility because it would be nice, obviously. But it's like my main concern is making sure, like, anytime it comes to like these new generation of consoles, it's like you guys were saying before, it's like we need to see some games, because it's like I don't want to just be like, oh yeah, this is gonna be at the beginning just all during remasters, or it's gonna be all like loop shooters or something. Because then I'm like, yo, I'm not gonna buy a next gen console like for that. Like I can wait until sometime down the line before I'm concerned about buying one if it's just gonna be like nothing for me at the beginning or from the get go anyway. So it's like I I just I mean, I know this talk was more of a like, oh yeah, we were showing off the specs and everything, because I'm pretty sure I think they mentioned that this was initially for
It was for
GDC or
GDC,
something.
yeah.
So I mean, it was bound to be a bit more techie talk than anything. But I feel like they still should have had like a small little aside, like, oh, and here's a preview of like 2 games that'll be like, it doesn't have to be like a giant roster, just so you guys don't have to be worried that this isn't happening. Like here's a little taste. So
That's like such a good point, RPG. It's like we literally have not seen any. I mean, I guess we did see like Godfall or whatever that, but it's like,
Yeah.
it's still like, so like it's not borderline vaporware, but it's like the hype is so palpable. But it's like you want some like anything. It's just like, oh, it's just like, come on, give us something.
So
Crazy.
yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think ultimately, I think things are gonna. I mean, eventually they're gonna show. I'm pretty sure they're gonna do a much bigger showcase, because they didn't do since they didn't do Experience last year. But I'm sure like later on we'll probably get something like, because with all the conferences all being canceled anyway, so they probably had a roadmap for how they were gonna do this, and then the darkest timeline took hold, and it was just like, LOLs, better change your plans because it ain't happening. So I'm sure they had much better plans for this, and then we'll probably get an actual like announced like super conference or something that they do for this sometime soon. But it's just like it's a lot going on right now. So
My personal speculation is that they're gonna be silent until after not Sekiro, Tsushima. After Ghost of Tsushima comes out is finally when we're gonna see something. So they don't want to undercut their
Yeah.
that's the
last
thing
game.
too. It's like they still have first party stuff happening. So it's like you don't want to be like, let me just steal my own thunder real quick.
So it's like if we don't see anything in the summer, then it's like I'd be really surprised, because it's like I don't know how they could just keep going for the rest of the year until like, I mean, I guess they could pull an Apple and be like, coming out tomorrow, but it's like nobody does that in the console space.
It would
So
be
it's like,
so hard to get retail to keep that secret.
Yeah.
also in a global pandemic, it's like that's very up in the air. Like that's
Oh,
not
yeah,
the
like-
safest thing to be doing.
Exactly.
Social
So-
distancing era.
So they'll probably likely do like some type of digital event later on. I mean, there's, like you said, after Tsushima is done, they can probably have something scheduled or whatever. Because I mean, other conferences are usually later in the year anyway, like
Yeah,
TGS and other stuff like that. Yeah, so it's like it's possible they already have it like planned to be like, okay, we're gonna do the official, like, okay, this is what the PS5 is, and then it's like now all of the games and everything. And same thing with Microsoft as well. It's like it'll probably be just like they'll do like an official thing, because I mean they're probably doing this whole drip feed because part of me kind of feels like there's like a game of chicken going on between Microsoft and Sony right now, because they're trying to be like, well, who's going to say something first? Are they going to say something first? Should we say something first? Are they going to say something? So it's like, I think that's why it's been such a slow drip feed, because the last time they did the reveals for the current generation of consoles and everybody was just like, this is it? This is the best you got? And then Microsoft was like, handed their behinds when Sony waited to go after they did, and it's just like, oh, it's like we should probably. So now I think it's kind of like that game of back and forth, like, are they gonna say something first? Should we say something first? Who's gonna say something first? What's going on? Meanwhile, it's just like all of the games, guys, all of the games, switch for everybody. So it's just like eventually, I mean, I guess they're going to just do like official conferences, but they're probably just like kind of trying to feel out their competition. Is like, how do we do this? Because we can't just be just throwing out all our information out there, and then they could just be like, okay, we can just go back and then do this instead. And then they ended up getting like quote unquote beaten in the process. So
See,
Yeah, and then,
okay,
oh,
so these reveals were pretty soon after each other. Do you feel like that was always the plan, or was it like Sony seeing what
I don't think it
Microsoft
was,
had?
dude. I think because they said at the beginning this was for GDC, which is like which would have been later, right? It's in April or something, right?
I think it's
No, I think it was more like recent.
Oh, okay. Well, if they were already like going to go ahead and present this at the GDC anyway, then like this was whenever GDC was. It's like this would have been shown. So it's like this wasn't really them. I don't feel like this was them getting pressured to like put something out. Because they also like didn't they also did the thing like last time for the PlayStation Direct or whatever it's called, and like they didn't, temper people's expectations. They're just like, oh, something about PS5, and like you still like all the dislikes on the video. So it's like they clearly still have not got that memo of like, dude, you have no idea how thirsty people are for this. So you need to chill it
well,
out.
I mean, I think more the reason that they're thirsty is for because like everything is falling apart, so they're just kind of just like, I need something, guys, like. Let me live.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think part of being thirsty is just like no one is giving you water, and like that's what was happening. Like there was a lot of talk that I saw where it's like, oh, Microsoft is running the show. They're showing everything, and we haven't heard anything from Sony. They're gonna lose because we haven't heard anything. It's like, yeah, but why is that? Because like the reason that they might lose is because people aren't excited. And yet, every time someone says that we haven't heard from Sony, it means that people are waiting to hear from Sony.
It's true.
I think
they're already excited, so it's just like, I want them to like give me something.
So it's like, are they losing the momentum? Are they losing anything? Like everyone keeps asking about them every time they see Xbox. They're like, what about Sony?
I think it goes to like that thing we talked about that one time on the podcast where it's like, the hype will never die. Until it's released. Until it's released. So it's like it is not in their like benefit to like give you anything because then you won't really care as much. It's like
because now once the mystery is gone, it's like it's different when like it's like okay now
you're just waiting.
Because essentially like once they release anything, it's like just putting like a drop of blood in like the shark water, and it's like people are just gonna lose their minds, and it's just like they have that on their side, and it's like they're not gonna lose that heat until they like want it to be to their benefit. So it's like I said, until like after Tsushima, when their last game is out, for his first party game is out on PS4, or like TGS, I guess at the latest, because that'd be like in their territory since they're a Japanese company. Like I don't see them saying anything because it's they can maintain the hype of people like, oh, what are they gonna say? Sony, oh man, PlayStation, like they're losing their minds over this. It's just like the hype is just palpable. Like I said, it's just you can just feel it.
So it looks like GDC is usually in March, based on what I'm seeing. So
so it's probably already planned anyway.
So the other thing about the processing core that I thought was that might be pretty cool. I mean, not in a like, oh, this is cool way. Just in a, oh, yeah, that's nice.
As opposed to what? And I guess that's cool.
They've sort of rethought how they're gonna do console cooling. So right now, like PS4, the way it works is that the
fan that sounds like a jet going off.
Yeah, like when it gets really loud, it's because a lot of processing is happening. So a lot of power is being supplied to the processor, and so it's getting hotter, and so they gotta like cool it off. Otherwise, it will melt itself, and then you don't have a console anymore. So, when they're designing the console in the lab, they gotta think, okay, what's the worst case scenario? Like, how far are developers gonna push this thing, and then how hot is it gonna be at that point? And then how much are we going to have to cool it? And so they have to sort of guess, like, well, what's it going to be like? How much can you push this thing? How hot is it going to get? And because of that guesswork, sometimes your guesses are off, and you end up with a really loud console. And it's like, well, it's quiet for the most part, but then sometimes when it gets... when the games get really crazy, then it gets really loud, and that was sort of beyond.
Well, it may have gotten loud, but did it rendering? Oh!
Oh! It is no longer too soon. Um,
Noble woman's laugh.
so for the PS5, they've gone sort of backwards, and they've decided, you know what? Forget that. We're just gonna give the chip full power all the time. So now we know.
And that's how Lighthouses caught on fire.
Well, see, that way they sort of take out the guesswork. They know it's like, okay, it's going to be full power all the time. So this is how hot it's going to be. So this is how much cooling we need. How do we make that amount of cooling quiet?
I mean, I guess that's probably the best way to do it. Or, I guess when you're testing it, you could always kind of like pump it up to the maximum and see how hot it's actually going to get, even though it's like, well, it's very unlikely that the consoles will always be running like this. So but at least you can test it instead of it being like constant volcano.
I was about to say PS5 is just like the Human Torch all the time. Flame on. As soon as you turn it on, it's like flame on, and it like never goes off until you turn it off.
Guys, my PS5 is like literal fire right now. I can't turn it off. I can't turn it off. It's been like this for days. Oh, the power. Unlimited power. So yes, that's going to be fun. But I mean, it's true though, because I feel like that's always been like an issue with some of these consoles is like they don't actually take into account the fact that, well, one, where people are going to put their consoles sometimes, because sometimes they are just like housed in entertainment systems or in like their glass or like whatever, and it's like, but they're just like, I don't care where they're gonna put them. Let's just make our console and hope for the best, and then next thing you know, the systems are overheating and, like Tropical said, possibly melting themselves because that's apparently a thing. So yeah.
It's funny because I don't know if that's why the Xbox One Series or Xbox Series X like looks like that way, but that probably is like why there's just like a giant fan out the top of just like we gotta keep cool, dude. Just like blow it all out the top. Just blow it out the top. Just do it.
It's like a heat vent, so it's basically just like a sauna in your place. You're just like, oh, this is nice. In the wintertime, this is amazing.
So yeah, like then there was more technical stuff on this. But like mostly for me, I was like, oh, so they're gonna be able to do a better job with like controlling fan noise because they're taking this approach rather than the traditional approach. The technical stuff was like apparently doing this allows them to crank the clock speeds of the processors like higher than would be possible otherwise.
Overclock it always.
So
again, volcanoes.
Yeah, and like that's sort of like that all comes together and goes back to the thing where he's like, oh, I prefer, higher clock speeds but fewer cores. And because they can do this and get higher clock speeds, they're like, yeah, we should do this and have fewer cores. And so that is where the 10 teraflop thing came from. And then finally, their last main point was they feel like every console should have something that they refer to as new dreams.
I really like that. Because it was like, you know what? We had an era of dreams on PS4, and it's like, the dreams have not ended, because there's going to be more. It's like, it's in the presentation. There's a new era of dreams. And then it was crazy because he teased the feedback of like the haptic controller, but they didn't go into it. I was like, oh, come on. How are you going to do that, Cerny? How are you going to do that, man? how are you going to tease that and not even go into controllers? Because they're not doing the controllers, they're doing the tech specs. Oh, what a tease. What a tease, man. What a tease.
So New Dreams is about not just being more powerful, like processing-wise. It's about enabling things that weren't possible at all before on the previous console. So for PS4, I mean, I would say it's things like share button. Like that was amazing.
Yes.
It's just
like
he would not shut up about share button.
Yeah.
In the conception, I was like, share button. Oh this is gonna be revolution, guys. I didn't even know how good it would be. I was just like, it lived up to my hype levels. I was like, is this gonna be what it is? It was what it is, guys. It was what I thought would be, dudes and ladies out there. It was like, man, I was like so hyped and jazzed for it,
so many videos
it surpasses those expectations immensely. And I've share buttoned like at least once a month since Sure,
I'm
but
for sure a lot more than once a month, but
um. So yeah, for PS5, they decided that they wanted to enable really cool 3D audio, and so they built a chip that they called the Tempest engine, and they're calling the whole thing Tempest.
like a whirlwind of doom.
Yeah. And it's kind of neat. So you remember The Last of Us when they first were talking about it in the early days of The Last of Us? They talked about how they wanted it. Well, there were like two things. They wanted the AI companion to be like really smart and useful, and like you would never have broken immersion because they would just be that real. And then the other thing was that they wanted you to be able to tell where enemies were just through sound. They did not achieve either of those things. Like, you remember, you've seen the videos, like in The Last of Us, you'll be hiding there in stealth, and then Ellie will just like walk right in front of the guy who's looking around for you.
Jenkins.
And it's just like, he won't notice because I guess they never figured it out, so they're like, well, we can't make it frustrating, and they just keep noticing your dumb AI allies, so we're just gonna make them not notice them at all. And then the locating enemies by sound didn't work either, and it became this Joel's, like, what do they call it in that one? Survival vision? Listening vision? Where you just like hold down R2 and then you can see through the walls and like see everybody.
They called it listening vision?
I don't know. I know that they explained it as like Joel like concentrates his hearing and then he can like tell where people are.
Oh.
Anyway, so neither of those things work. But yeah, Mark Cerny talked about how PS3 with its SPUs, like that chip was really good at sound processing, and it could process lots of different sound sources at the same time. And then PS4 just didn't have anything like that. And so they're sort of sad, and so yeah, they decided, PS5, we're gonna do it. And so they've essentially made a custom chip that is kind of like Cell's SPUs, but it's more based on like AMD's GPUs, and it's just gonna process lots and lots of sounds. And yeah, a cool part of this is that they said, you know, right now your sound experience at home depends a lot on like what you're using. Are you using your TV speakers? Are you using headphones? Are you using a surround sound system? It's like different for everyone. And one of their goals for PS5 is like, well, we want everyone to have amazing 3D audio. And so we can't rely on peripherals. It's got to be in the system. And then super technical stuff about like mapping a person's head.
Man, that was crazy, dude. That was intense. It's like, here's a heat map of how you hear. And I was like, what? I did not know this was a thing.
It's like, well, this is not creepy at all.
So it's just like, yeah, this thing is like mapped out. Like if a sound is coming from this direction over here, then you would have to apply these sort of effects to it, and then so the effects change the sound wave, and then when a person hears that, they will think that it's coming from that direction. Or what.
It was actually funny though, because like when he was giving the talk, he's like, okay, so when we had whatever sound, and it was in the speaker, you would hear it on the right, so you'd be on the right of you.
Yeah.
And if you had whatever sound, it'd be like there, so you'd think it's blah 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 blah. But he's like, what we want to do is we want you to hear it and no, it's right over there. And he like points like right next to him. It's like, dude, that is like, I've had some intense moments in Resident Evil 2 with fixed tracks. Okay, that's like part of the reason why I just like had to put it down for a bit. 3D audio was like a bit too intense when he's just like stomp, and it's like, I can't get out of here. I'm not leaving this room. I'm not leaving the safe room, but I can't even do Resident Evil 3 now. Thanks. And it's like, because he's like right out there and I can hear him. It's like made me paranoid and like scared. I'm like, I had a whole meltdown about it. So it's like, this is a good thing, but I've kind of had like my feel of this, and it might be too much for some people like myself, and I might have a weird dark person now when I play certain games. But I guess that's where we're at now. So whatever. Thanks, Marcus. Or thanks.
This is why I kept saying, like, I think that the startup sound for the PS5 is going to be amazing. Because, like...
I was like, why are you saying
that? Oh, yeah, because I was wondering what he was talking about when he did that. I was like, what? Because I saw the tweet and I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah, because, like,
I guess just with the 3D audio, they can, like, make it bounce all over the place and...
Yeah, you know how, like, the beginnings
so it's
of
kind
movies
of,
with, like...
THX, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, just...
I feel like the console experience is you'll turn it on, you'll set up your PlayStation account, internet connection, all that stuff, and then it'll come to a point where you'll select your spatial sound setup. Like basically he said that every person's what was the acronym? It's like HRTF. It's sort of like what Tekken was saying, like the heat map of how you hear and how you're able to tell where things are in 3D space through sound. But not everyone's head is the same. So like he was like, they've made this sort of generic one where it'll work for most people and it'll be pretty good. But then he was like, yeah, but then when I used instead of using the generic map and they used the map of my head, like there were moments where I would be fooled into thinking that it was not coming from the game's console, it was coming from like the actual world somewhere. And so they're gonna have generic heat maps for you to choose. So you're gonna choose the one that sounds best to you, and then you're gonna finish all the setup, and then it's gonna boot up PS5 or whatever, and then it's gonna play this 3D something.
Whisper in your ear.
And you'll be
Could you imagine it's just like, you're playing. It's like, oh god.
It's like the Dreamcast.
We're in you now.
So many traumatized people.
Video game. Choose your game and character wisely.
Oh my gosh, that can get like that, man. That can get like so many levels of like weird of like
would you like to pre-order now? Microtransactions available today. Coming next week. DLC next week. Yeah, you want that?
Oh man, I don't.
The Jason.
Anyways, yeah, I feel like this is really exciting because people for a long time now have been saying that the next generation consoles are going to be basically the same, and it's all going to come down to exclusive games. And I was like, yeah, it mostly usually comes down to exclusive games, but I don't think they're going to be as similar as people think they're going to be. I think even PS4, the stuff we like about the console itself is not necessarily just like the better processing power. Like share button is not it's not an evolution. Like that didn't just come out of... Were there even screenshots on PS3? Could you take screenshots?
No.
I don't think so. Yeah,
so.
It's like
share button was the thing.
Someone thought this would be cool. This is something that has never existed in PlayStations. We're gonna make that thing and then put it in the next one. And so it felt like PSVR is the same thing. Like they didn't have to make PSVR. And so yeah, it just felt to me like PlayStation is gonna do something. There's gonna be something weird about the next PS5 or the next PlayStation, and it's not gonna be like Nintendo levels of weird, but it's gonna be like something unexpected.
That's the startup sound. Cocaine.
Yes, my PS5 is on now.
Oh my gosh. Or if you're gonna like custom one, I'm gonna like use that. It's like RPG cocaine thing. Oh my gosh.
Oh. Yeah, but well, they did say that 3D audio like is sort of a new thing, and so especially in this way, like we've tried to achieve 3D audio in theaters, for example, by just using, I think it's like 20 some speakers.
Yeah.
So, obviously not everyone's gonna have 20 speakers, and I doubt there's gonna be 20 speakers built to inside of the PS5. So, yeah, like figuring out sort of how to alter sound waves so that it sounds like they're coming from all these different places is something that, as he said, no one has all the answers yet, and so it's just gonna be something that people are gonna figure out over time.
It was also weird when they were showing like how they set it up because it looked very much like a facial mapping situation,
Yeah.
but it was for audio, and it was just like so intense because it had like this human sitting there with like microphones under his chin of like this is weird, dude, and just like a bunch of different thingies around him, and it's just like wow, this is some next level weird that you went to for this audio, but I'll take it, man, because I live my well before it like completely well it didn't break, but like I guess I just didn't take care of it, and my platinum headset kind of crapped out on me. It wouldn't crap out. It still works. It just like it comes apart very easily now.
Wow.
Because I guess I was just not, delicate enough with it. So whatever. But yeah, like I said, Mr. X Man had a whole thing. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, and then they just kind of left it at that. And I mean, there was other technical stuff, but like these were the main takeaways for me as far as like, well, how is this technical stuff gonna make the experience different? And so I was really struck by like, ooh, maybe it's gonna be really quiet all the time. That would be awesome. And then 3D sound, obviously. And then yeah, solid state drive. That's been a thing that I've been doing recently, like changing all of my computer hard drives into solid state. It's like, oh my god, they're so much faster. And so yeah, when every console has one of those inside, then the games can be totally different.
Excited.
Yeah, pretty exciting.
Oh, and then what I tweeted about the whole backwards compatibility thing, because I was playing a Tropical, I said it's more of a dream feature than a deal breaker for me. If we get it eventually, great, but day one would have been ideal. But it's like ultimately, it's one of those things where it's like it's more important in like the first year or two than like the lifetime of the console, because it's like I said, however many times or whenever I said on the podcast, it's like I'd rather play a game from 2 days ago than 2 years ago. So it's like I'm more about the. I mean, I'm not all about the new stuff, but it's like I kind of care more about the new stuff when it's like new hotness coming out the gates than oh man, that game of the year from like 5 years ago. I want to check that out again in the middle of this cool new release games for the new console that I have.
I still feel like backwards compatibility has become more and more valuable over time. Just because nobody really played PS2 games on their PS3s doesn't mean that like people weren't or won't want to play PS3 games on their PS4s or PS4 games on their PS5s, just because like the leap between them is just getting smaller. And so like yeah, a lot of PS1 games are sort of hard to look at now, but like PS2 games still look pretty good, if a bit blurry. And then PS3 games, like sometimes like, well, yeah, that looks not current, but it still looks really good. And yeah, I like, when is Horizon Zero Dawn gonna look bad? I'm not sure that it ever will.
There's also the issue of like the sharing abilities with like or streaming capabilities with the old stuff. It's like that was the thing. That's like why I was hoping you could have like backward compatibility with the streaming of the share button, because it would be a perfect match of like all the old games easily streamable forever.
Yeah,
and that would be great.
And then I can finally show Dagger how amazing Resonance of Fate is, because she sucks at it.
That's fine.
Wait, did they release that for PS4? Do you know?
Yeah, they did.
They did, right?
They did a re-release for it, yeah.
Remaster.
But not. I don't know if I don't think they did it physically though. I think it's only digital. You know how I feel about that.
Yeah, what else on PS4? PS5. Well, so I guess, yeah, I guess at this point it really is like, well, show us the games. I think there might be some really cool stuff.
I mean, at least, I mean, I as we already said like our speculation about like Sony and PlayStation, but I'm pretty sure Microsoft's going to show whatever they're going to show at E3 during E3 time, even though it's going to be digital. So it's like going to be like a weird thing where it's like not going to be a. I mean, unless they do the thing that they did with Sony, where it's like a mock presentation with like a no crowd or audience. That'd be super weird. But I think they're just going to do like the digital thing like everybody else because
Yeah.
that's what they're probably going to do anyway. So it's like hopefully we get to see some Xbox Series X. I'm so whatever. I'm not going to say it, but like some Xbox Series X games.
For some reason, it didn't occur to me how hard it would be to say until I was trying
You actually
earlier
had to
today.
See,
I
the
was
thing
like,
about like saying it is like I keep like wanting to say something else after I say Xbox of like Xbox 360 or Xbox One, but it's like no, it's just Xbox then Series X. So it's just like
Yeah.
throwing my brain off every time of like there's nothing after Xbox. You just say Series X, and it's just like ugh.
and it's like, there's already one that ends with X and starts with Xbox.
also
And it's
that
like-
that is yes. The whole Xbox
Yeah,
One
'cause it
X
does
and
already
Xbox Series
exist.
X are just like
Yeah.
ending with X's similarities. Of course, I need to just like be weird with it and be like Xbox Series X spells sex. Then I would never forget. And it's like
Oh,
just in my
dear.
brain now. You need to like say it with like a more creeper voice though. That'd be like more appropriate. Xbox Series X spells sex.
It wouldn't be creepy without the screaming from nearby. That's how you know.
America. Sex box.
French fry potatoes.
Keep Merc.
How great is it now? How great is it now? Sorry, guys. Cabin fever is starting to set in.
No.
It's been 2 days.
That's the funny thing though about social media. Like people like, I can't. Oh, I'm having so many issues in quarantine. It's like, dude, that's me every day. Like
I
this is my
know.
this is my like bread and butter. Like I don't feel sorry for you because it's not that hard. Just like
Well,
I
see,
mean,
that's the thing,
it's
though.
for
It's like
you.
when you already
It's
do
just
it all the
minimized.
time, it's different.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because it's like you're already used to it.
For me, because I'm like I'm in my element. So you other people out there. I mean, extroverts I could see because it's like they got to get out and like be with other people. But how's that feeling now? How's it now when society doesn't cater to your type? Extroverts, yeah, suck it.
Suck all of it.
It's really funny. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people walking, like taking walks. I was like, I don't think I've ever seen this many people walking around. I was like, is it that hard to be in your house for 2 days?
People taking walks.
So yeah, I guess that's it for this week's episode and PS5 and news and what you've been playing. What was the thing we said last week about the something no something
No
something
touchy
something
touchy without the
touchy, no,
washy washy.
I wanted to say it again, but I forgot it was. It was like no touchy, no something without washy or something. And it still applies because still a thing.
Now
You know.
more than ever.
Especially now.
So yeah, since we are under a global pandemic, it's not going to be hard to hopefully find time to podcast in the current era. So hopefully we'll come back to you next week, and we won't all be dead. So here's that.
This is how the purge started, guys. You ready?
Anything to say before you sign off, RPG?
I'm still bad.
Anything to say before
Stay
we sign
safe
off?
out there.
So yeah, Aimless Babble Z. Check us out. Facebook,
Wash your damn hands, people.
YouTube, Twitter, wherever else. Hopefully you're making it through these crazy times like we are, and making it through and not having a mental breakdown or resorting to animicus, because that's not a good thing ever.
Mikus eating your friends.
Yeah. That's one side effect that could result in this, sheltered in situation we have right now. But yeah.
You can't starve together if there's nobody to be together with. Animekus.
So yeah, no touchy without the washy. So until you hear us again, Aimless Babble Z, and we're now signing off.